If you're a business owner that is just overwhelmed by the day-to-day operations of your business, this is really going to help you identify where those time sucks are, what you're doing that you do not have to be doing. The number one thing that I see holding up business owners in wasting their time and not being able to get their time back is communication. And to give credit where credit's due, a lot of this methodology is from Nick Sonnenberg, who wrote the book Come Up for Air. If you're a business owner, I highly recommend reading that book. He developed a really great framework called the CPR strategy that is one of the frameworks I use when consulting with business clients. The first component of that is C, communication. So in that book, he goes through how the business communication system should operate in order to be the most effective and efficient to free up as much time for the business owner as possible. The first thing that you want to consider is splitting apart internal and external communication. What I recommend, and what Nick Sonnenberg also recommends in his book, is to have internal communication on a tool like Slack or Microsoft Teams or some sort of platform that is not email. You then have email left just for external communication. So by drawing that line right down the middle, that if you're trying to communicate with somebody inside of your organization, it's going to be on Slack or it's going to be in Microsoft Teams, right away you know where to look. The second thing that you want to keep in mind is how you communicate with people in your team. The communication platform really shouldn't be used for project management. It should just be used for information transfer, specifically information that doesn't need to persist or last past that point. Any sort of information that does need to persist should go into a project management tool. Okay. So dividing that out right there where it's like internal communication is on Slack, external communication is on email, and then of that internal communication, any information that needs to last shouldn't happen on Slack. It should be put into your project management software so that people can reference it down the road automatically. That saves so much time for business owners because it eliminates the need to try to find the information every single time that you need to access it. The second thing that I see eating up business owners' time is a lack of documented processes and systems. So if you're having to rethink the wheel, if you're having to rethink how you do things every single time, whether it's you as a person or your team is having to rethink how to do things every time, it really slows down your processes and your systems, and it increases the amount of time that you have to input in order to achieve the same output. Imagine if the work that you do had a clear-cut checklist. All of the work that you do over and over and over again had a clear-cut checklist to be able to just pass off to somebody. And you only have to train them once. Let's take onboarding a client, for example. Imagine if you had a checklist, an onboarding client checklist, a SOP, a standard operating procedure. We do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this. Now you have that encapsulated so that you can hand that to a new hire and they'll just go down the checklist every single time a client is onboarded. And it's going to increase the quality of the onboarding because they're not going to forget things. And it means that you only have to train them once, not multiple times. And it also means that anybody can do it. Anyone you hire can do it. It's not something that's specialized knowledge in the brain of your onboarding specialist. It's something that will allow you to not only scale, but to save time in the meantime if you don't want to scale, which not every business owner wants to scale. A lot of them want to keep the same amount of income, maybe slightly increase their income, but it's really about the time. They want to get their life back. They want to get their time back. That's a great way to do it. The third thing that's coming to mind right now, as far as what is causing business owners to spend too much time in their businesses is clogging up their day, is just a lack of cadence in their meeting schedules. If you're an established business owner and you're able to take a meeting at any time of the day, I challenge you on that thinking. The reason is if you have enough traffic, if your bottleneck is not leads and marketing, then your bottleneck is therefore operations and probably product. So if that's the bottleneck, and you're opening up your calendar that anybody can get onto it, you're actually shooting yourself in the foot. You don't need more leads. You actually need higher quality leads. You need to charge more per lead. And that's only going to happen if the product is high quality. So tracing this all back, if you can block off parts of your calendar to focus on the product where you're not able to take meetings, and you compress your meeting time down into specific days or specific times of the day, what that's going to allow you to do is spend focus time actually alleviating the bottleneck on your business, which will therefore allow you to charge more per client, which means that you'll need to take less clients to keep the same amount of revenue, which means that you get your life back. The next thing that I think of is not using technology to automate a lot of the tedious small tasks. So just as you can create an SOP for a person to follow, whether it's you or your client, you can create an SOP that technology can follow. And this is called automation, where you set up a system, you set up software or a computer that is waiting for something to happen. It may be a form being submitted, it may be a call coming in, it may be a button being clicked. Whatever it is, it's waiting for that thing to happen. And then when it does, it takes an automated action. For example, the simplest way that I can explain this is when somebody fills out a form on your website, what happens? For most people, they just get an email and nothing happens. Like somebody fills a form out on your website, you get an email. Nothing automated happens. You just get an email. Imagine if somebody fills out a form on the website and a line is created in a spreadsheet that has all of that information and you can see all of your leads. Imagine if you get a text message that says somebody just filled out a form on your website. Imagine if in Slack, your company internal system, everybody that's involved in sales gets a message on Slack saying, hey, we have a new lead, and they're able to immediately reach out. So there's so many of these processes that technology can automate so that business happens faster and it happens more efficiently. Like there's no time being spent in you informing the person that somebody filled out a form. There's no time being spent in them having to click into the website and see, oh, who filled out a form today? It just happens naturally. This is what I call invisible automation. It literally means we're just taking tasks off and outsourcing it to technology, which never sleeps, never eats, and many times is a lot cheaper than hiring somebody on an hourly rate. So those are 4 things right off the bat that I've seen business owners struggle with. There's several more. I try to post content as often as possible to be able to help provide awareness and help diagnose pain points in this. But if you are struggling with busy work and you're not able to spend as much time with your family, you're not as able to spend as much time building the business or scaling the business as you want, reach out. Okay, this is what I do. Every client is unique. Every client's needs are unique. So I'd love to connect and see if there's any way that I could provide value to you. All right. I hope that helps, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.